In this video, we are going to be focusing on Arabic pronunciation. Join us as we dive into Arabic pronunciation essential, learn key tips, practice and challenging sound, and boost your confidence speaking Arabic. Let's start with Arabic alphabets. We have the first one is alifun, ba'un, ta'un, tha'un, jimun, ha'un, kha'un, dalun, thalun, ra'un, zayun, sinun, shinun, sadun, dadun, ba'un, za'un, aynun, ghaynun, fa'un, qafun, kafun, lamun, mimun, nunun, wawun, ha'un, lam alif, hamza, and the last one is ya'un. In this case, before we dive into proper explanation, I need you to pay attention and look at this word, or look at this alphabet. Starting from the right hand side instead of left hand side as usual, up to the left hand side. So, if you notice, we have like repetition of the same alphabet. The only differences we have here is the point. The first line from the alif, and apart from the alif, which is the first one, which like it actually sounds like A, or it stands like A in the normal sense. What about ba'un? This is typically B. What about ta'un? This actually stands for T sound. So, but actually we have some words here which are not in the normal words which we are already familiar with. So if you look at the ba'un, ta'un, and tha'un, they are triplet. The only difference is the point which we have. In the case of ba'un, we have the point which is below. In the case of ta'un, it's inside or at the top of it. And in the case of a tha'un, we have 3 dots which is at the top. What about jimun, ha'un, and ha'un? The same thing applies here. In the case of jimun, which is the first one at this point, we have the point inside. Ha'un doesn't have any point, while ha'un, it has the point at the, on top of it. What about the dalun and dhalun? These are twins actually. Well, the only difference is dalun, the first one, actually stands for D, or it actually gives the sound of D, which is da. What about dhalun? It actually have only one point at the top. They are like enantiomers. They have the same shape, but totally different pronunciation. The same thing with ra'un and zayun, sinun and shinun, sadun and badun. They all have the same structure. The only difference they have is the point, and that point actually give a very large differences. What about ba'un and za'un? The same thing, but in the case of fa'un and qafun, they are also the same thing. But fa'un has one point which give a F sound. What about qafun? Qafun has double. Like إِذَا قَالَ مُوسَى لِقَوْمِهِ. What about kafun? It doesn't need to put a lot of stress. Like لَقَدْ كَانَ. It doesn't need stress like qafun. So what about lamun? لَمْ يَكُنِ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا مِنْ أَهْلِ الْكِتَابِ. What about mimun? This is ma sound, which is M. Maliki yawmiddin. We have the nunun, wawun, ha'un, lam alif, hamza, and ya'un. What about ya'un? We can say أرسله معنا غدا ير. This is a combination of or addition of ya'un or ra'un. يرتع ويلعب. It actually gives a Y sound. So, we're not going to stop here. Let's try to see some symbols which we have in Arabic. Starting with the first one, fatha. We have the fatha, we have kasra, we have the dhamma. And remember, we have the shadda. In some cases, we have the sukun. Let's start with the first one. When we said fatha, this is simply a short diagonal line which is placed above a letter, indicating a sound like kataba. It actually gives an I sound. Let's say kataba. Kataba. If you notice here, we have the diagonal line which is very short at the top of every alphabet. This is kefun, ta'un, and ba'un. But before then, let me give a quick revision on this. In normal sense, well, actually we know this is ba'un. But if you're writing ba'un at the beginning of any sentence or a word, ba'un is going to be in this form. What about if it is in the middle? This is going to be in this form. What about if it is at the last? So it's going to be something like this. So this is how it is initially. Beginning, let's say first. This is second. And what is, if it is at the end of any word, it's going to be something like this. Let's take an example with وَيَلْعَبَ. وَيَلْعَب is going to be wawun bil fataha, ya'un bil fataha, lamun, aynun bil fataha, then ba'un. That is wayal'ab. So what I'm trying to explain here is to show the ba'un, how it comes at the end of any letter or alphabet. Let's see. أرسله معنا غدا يرتع ويلعب. We have seen how ba'un is. Same thing with this. That is why I said kataba. So if you notice here, that is why it's good for you to pay attention to the numbers of point and the shapes which we have. In the case of kataba, if you notice here, we have ta'un, which is at the middle. And we know that in the actual sense, this is ta'un. So at the beginning of any word, it's going to be this. Middle is going to be this. And the last word is going to be this. Let's take an example. Let's see. The something, we can say, أرسله معنا غدا يرتع يرتع. This is a combination of ta'un bil fataha and aynun. يرتع. This is at the beginning of the word. What if it is in the middle or at the end? At the end of the word, we can have نحن نقص عليك أحسن القصص بما أوحينا إليك هذا القرآن وإن كنت. Have you seen? So at this point, we have found ta'un at the beginning of the word, and here we have ta'un at the end of the word. So I think we are done with the fatha. Let's try the next one, which is kasra. What is kasra? So in this case, we can say kasra, this is also, are we talking about kasra? Yeah. Kasra, this is also a short diagonal line placed below a letter indicating an E sound. It's also like E sound. So we can have something like, let's say, kitab. Something, kitab. Kefun bi fataha ka, kefun bi kisra ki, kefun bi dumma ku. This is simply going to be kitab. Kitab. What about the last one? Sorry, the middle one, which is damma. This is simply a small curved line which is placed above a letter indicating the U sound. We can still use this to say kutub, kutub, kutub. Kefun bi dumma ku, ta'un bi dumma ku, ba'un biskun. This is what kutub. What about in the Quran? You can find a lot of places that have that, like nahnu naqussu, nahnu. You can say nahnu, nunun bil fataha na, nunun biskun, nahnu. The last one, which is nunun, sorry, ha'un biskun, nunun bil dhamma, it became nahnu. What about the last one, which is shadda? This is simply a doubling of a constant, indicating a gemination of or emphasizes Let's take an example with kitab or kutab. Kutab, which is the writer. We can say kutab. Let me take the definition once again. We said the shadda, this is simply a doubling a constant, indicating a gemination or emphasizes. And we give an example with kutab. So the next thing we have on the list, we have the sukun. Sukun, this is a small circle placed above a letter, indicating that the constant is not followed by a vowel sound. Okay, let's take a few examples to that also. Here we have, let's check in the Quran. Let's have something like idh qala. This is dhalun. And dhalun at this point, it doesn't have fatha, kisra, dhamma. But if it doesn't have any of this, we're simply going to indicate that with sukun. We said idh qala. This is going to be idh qala. So meaning that this is qafun bi fatha qa, lamun bi fatha la. This is simply going to be idh qala. We can have a lot of verses in the Quran that we can have that sukun inside. Let's take an example with فَلَمَّا رَأَى قَمِيصَهُ قُدَّ مِنْ. On top of that nun, we didn't have fatha, kisra or dhamma. This is actually going to be sukun. مِنْ دُبُرٍ قَالَ إِنَّهُ مِنْ كَيْدِكُنَّ إِنَّ كَيْدَكُنَّ عَظِيمٌ. Even the azim, the ya'un in between, it doesn't have fatha, kasra, or dhamma. So, let's take an example with fathatayn, kasratayn, and dhammatayn. In this case, we have alifun bil fataha bil kisra bil dhamma. Oh, what about alifun bil fathatayn bil kisratayn and bil dhammatayn? And this is going to be a, I, u, and this is going to be an, in, un. What about the case of ba'un? Ba'un, we can have in 3 places also, trying to show how it comes in fatha, kisra, and also in dhamma. This is going to be ba, bi, bu. What if we are given this kind of problem? Instead of fatha, kisra, dhamma, we are given fathataini, kisrataini, and dhammataini. This is simply going to be ban, bin, bun. What about the last one? Or let me say ta'un, not the last one actually. The last but not the least here. We are going to have tan, ta, ti, tu. What about this? Instead of ta, ti, tu, it's simply going to be tan, tin, tun. Because there is difference between here. Let's take an example. Let's say here we have fatha, kasra, dhamma. And here we have fatahataini, kasrataini, and dhammataini. The pronunciation is totally different. Because in this case, this is simply going to be an, in, un, ban, bin, bun, tan, tin, tun. This is a, I, u, an, in, un, ba, bi, bu, ban, bin, bun, ta, ti, tu, tan, tin, tun, fa, fi, thu, fan, fin, fun. That is the difference. So, in this case, let's say we have stopped at ta, right? Ta'un, let's talk about tha'un next. Let's say we have a tha'un to be at this point. Let's say we have tha'un. We said tha'un, it actually have like 4 points. This is simply going to be than, thin, thun. What if it is just fatha, not fatahataini? This is simply going to be tha, thi, thu. Let's take nunun. In this case, let's say we have nunun in 3 places, which is 1, 2, and 3. We can have na, ni, nu. What if it is fatataini, kisrataini, and dhammataini? And this is simply going to be nan, nin, nun. So this is it for this problem. These symbols are essential for proper pronunciation and understanding of Arabic context, especially in learning and reading. So thank you for watching. See you next time. In this video,